A very warm welcome to all my viewers, a warm welcome to each of my panelists today to Sentinel's Newsmakers. I have a very eminent panel today, all very eminent lawyers here on the panel. I have today Mr. Devajit Saikia. He is the Senior Advocate and former Senior Additional Advocate General of Assam and Meghalaya. Also on this show, Bhaskar Konwar, his senior advocate Guwahati High Court, Burhanur Rehman, advocate Guwahati High Court, and the lady on the show along with me is Rita Das Mazumdar, advocate Guwahati High Court. Very warm welcome once again to all of you for joining me this evening on Sentinel's Newsmakers. So the main purpose of my show today is to hear from all of you how our lawyers have been coping up with the lockdown, and also just trying to understand. We've been hearing a lot about virtual court proceedings, the hearings, the virtual hearings, that only issues of urgent matters will be taken up. So really would like to hear from you what all of these means. How has the going been as far as virtual proceedings are concerned? And if somebody wants to, has an urgent matter, then how he or she has to proceed, where does a person go, and how does one go about that whole thing? So first would like to hear from the lady on the show, Rita Mazumdar. Would like to hear from you your experiences of being a lawyer during the lockdown.
Okay, during the lockdown, you see, basically what I feel, and that is the fact that advocates are daily wage earners. We are, in fact, daily wage earners. The picture that people have about lawyers having flashy cars and everything, that is just a small percentage. Otherwise, we are paid on daily basis. So basically, we have to understand that. Then what this lockdown has done? It has put a shut on the court proceedings, so to say. We'll come to urgent matters that we have talked about, but basically the regular cases are shut down. So what is happening? My daily wage is getting blocked. I am unable to earn. And then because of the Advocate Act, what is the necessity is that an advocate cannot pursue, if he or she is an advocate, cannot pursue any other profession. So that binding is there on us. Just because our legal profession is blocked, we cannot go and pursue something new, we cannot start something. So that binding is there. Of course, recently what the Gujarat Bar Association has done is they have allowed their advocates to pursue some other profession till December of this year. So that binding is there. So daily wage earners, their livelihood is stopped. So that is the position right now we are facing, in fact.
Right. Yeah, we'll come back to you. Would like to hear from you, Burhanur Rehman. What has your experiences been in the past few days? And again, we are heading into another total lockdown in Guwahati. So how has it been for you?
Yes. As far as this new concept of virtual hearing, etc., which is introduced recently because of this COVID pandemic, it's a totally new experience for all the advocates across the nation. So now we are trying, or in fact, we are experimenting. It's a kind of experiment that we are undergoing, and right from Supreme Court to our Munsif Court, we are experiencing that. Now, as far as that virtual thing is concerned, that's a good experience. I think we should take it positively. But technology has got its own, it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes what happens if you are arguing some matter, maybe the quality of voice is not very clear. So in that case, you have to stop in the midway. Similarly, sometimes it so happened that if you are sitting in some far-flung area, then in that case, sometimes it so happened that your connectivity is not good. So in that case, your hearing stop at a mid stage. So all these kinds of hiccups are there. So we have to go through that hiccups. Now
Yeah.
the thing is that now the thing is that
Mm-hmm.
as far as our earning scenario is concerned, our
Yes.
Rita ma'am has just said that we are most of the advocates are actually in the bottom of the pyramid. 90%
Right.
of the advocates are in the bottom of the pyramid, so therefore they are a kind of daily wager that you can see. But
Yes.
only the say around 10% or 15% of the advocates are not kind of affected by this scenario. So we have to think about those people, those advocates who are who have taken a rented house or accommodation in city. They are earning their daily with in a daily wage
Yeah.
manner. So you have to
Right.
think of that lot. Now
Absolutely.
as far as
Ye-
the one thing that very quickly I have to add is that
Yes.
as far as the Gujarat High Court Bar Association's resolution is concerned, that is only a kind of resolution at this stage that you can do some other work also besides this our advocacy,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to get it ratified from the Bar Council of India. After all, this is in the Bar Council's rule. Rule 47 to Rule 51 says all these things. So until and unless this Bar Council of India ratifies it, there is no use of this Gujarat High Court's resolution, as far as Gujarat High Court's
Okay.
resolution is concerned.
All right, we will come to that particular point. I'll ask Mr. Saikia, Mr. Devajit Saikia, and Mr. Konwar to elaborate on all of these things. First, would like to hear from you, Mr. Konwar. How has it been? How has the COVID treated you? The lockdown particularly has treated you. Sorry, not COVID. Don't want that for anyone. But how has lockdown been treating you all? You as a lawyer.
Personally, this pandemic has been a blessing in disguise for me. All
All
these
right.
years, I have been working
All
day
right.
and night, and this has given me
Okay.
a relief. I am giving more time to my family,
Uh-huh.
talking to all my friends whom I have not talked for years. I have
Right.
picked up my hobbies of photography, which I was not having enough time, and
Okay.
lockdown has made me a good chef also. Now my daughter is
Wonderful.
very happy that her father is cooking every day some new dish for her. So
Right.
personally, also I'm quite benefited from this lockdown. I have lost around 15 kgs of weight by doing yoga and exercise regularly. So
Okay.
personally, this has been a blessing. But so
Right.
far functioning of the court is concerned,
Yes.
the Guwahati High Court, including
Mhm.
the outlying benches and the subordinate courts, they
Yeah.
have adopted the mode of restricted court functioning, and they have a staggered roster so as to
Mhm.
ensure social distancing in the court for the safety of the litigants, lawyers,
Mhm.
judges, and court support staff. The number of cases which are
Yeah.
listed before the court is determined considering the space available in the court. Even the chairs in the courtroom, which was earlier quite crowded, now only chairs are placed at 5 to 6 feet distance in the courtrooms and corridors, and all the extra chairs have been removed. And the
Okay.
court is not only dealing with the urgent matters; it is dealing with all levels of adjudication which are available as per the roster. Of course, the judges sit in the chambers and lawyers address arguments from the courtrooms. For that, you don't need an internet connection. They are using the LAN systems and everything. But lawyers who sit in their chambers in a remote location, for them, internet connectivity is very much important. And the
Right.
precaution High Court is that in the High Court we have a list of cases which are listed for the day, and only lawyers whose cases are listed in the courtroom can enter into the court premises. And wearing of masks have been made mandatory in the court. The courtrooms are sanitized on day-to-day basis. Even the AC vents are sanitized by trained staff. And the ray of hope is that all the filings which were earlier done through hard copies, now you can do the filing through pen drive. And for early listing, you can have soft copies given to the court. Nodal officers have been appointed, and all the operating procedures are published in the website for easy access of the lawyers. The
Right.
good part is that till 10th of June 2020, there were around 44 working days, but till yesterday it was around 60 days. I have the statistics of the last 44 days. In the
Okay.
last 44 days, the principal bench of the Guwahati High Court has listed 11,669 cases, which is quite a lot. And the rate of disposal of the cases is higher than the rate of filing. About
Okay.
1,000, more than around 1,500 cases have been filed, and
Sure.
around 1,700 cases have been disposed of. Of
Okay, we
course,
will come to that. Mr. Konwar, we will come to all those nitty-gritties and the details. But before that, would like to hear from Mr. Saikia. How has it been for you as a lawyer? And, what are the challenges that you have been facing?
For inviting me for this panel discussion. You are doing wonders, Oineetom. I have to first
Thank you.
congratulate you for this.
Thank
So
you,
far
sir.
as my personal experience is concerned, this is a change of technology. The era had changed. When I started my practice in 1997, we had to use those old typewriters, the conventional typewriters. From that, we have gone to this desktop printing, and now we are in the virtual hearing system. So there is a grand transition of the technology in delivery of justice. So this is the
Right.
basic change I have seen. And as you have all know, that necessity is the mother of invention. So although video conferencing was there in the corporate sector for last quite several years, but in the courts, in the judicial system, it was not introduced, or it was at a nascent stage. But this pandemic has given it a big boost up to go for the next phase of technology involvement in judicial system. So this is the major benefit of this whole pandemic. And so far as my personal experience is concerned, I was attending court before the pandemic. After the pandemic started, also from lockdown 1 itself, I am attending the courts because Guwahati High Court is functioning. It is one of the main high court in the country which can boast of continuing its judicial functioning throughout pandemic 1, pandemic 2, pandemic 3, unlock 1, and now going to be done in unlock 2 also. So there has been no drastic change, except the number of cases has reduced. Number of advocates attending the courts have been drastically cut to protect their own interest, to protect the interest of the justices, as well as to follow the various advisories of the government of India as well as the state government. Personally speaking, I am doing my cases day in and day out from 10:30 to 4:30. That is not the main issue. But as a whole, this whole system, introduction of this new system has drastically affected the advocates community. Because I may be a little bit techno savvy, or maybe my friend Bhaskar or the panelist here, Rita, or maybe my friend Rehman, but not all of them, because we have advocates who have started their practices in early 70s, early 80s. They do not have any computer exposure to them, but we have managed to cope up with this technology. Today I am doing this conversation with you over video, which was not thought of several years ago. So all these things have really cropped up a new situation where the people will ultimately have to take up. Very few percentage of the advocates are involved in this video conferencing process. Even the Honorable Supreme Court has finally have to say on the various demands of the Bar Council of India that this is not going to help the overall dispensation of justice delivery, because majority of the advocates are either not having these equipments or the technology know-how. In that view of the matter, my thing is that it will take some time. This has given an opportunity, this pandemic situation, but ultimately all the advocates and all the system, because earlier we have to maintain all the records of the courts through manual interpretation, but now everything has been computerized or digitally maintained. So things are changing. I have seen in England also that when a judgment is delivered in the open court, they used to dictate the judgment. There is a phonogram. The stenographer prints the judgment immediately. After the judgment is delivered, the lawyers and the counsels, the clients are sitting in the court. The judges give it to the clients or the advocates to read it. And once everything is cleared, in the same campus, in the same session, the final certificate copy is given. That was, I'm talking about, of 2004-5. So situation was changed in England or some other places long time back, but in India, this pandemic has given us to upgrade ourselves, taking help of various technological innovations.
Yes, but
so
like
that
you have mentioned,
in the coming time, with the new sets of new generation of advocates, they will definitely have to, along with their legal studies, they have to go for some technological studies also, so that it
Absolutely.
will help the system. And this thing will definitely continue for some more time, maybe 2-3 months
Of
more.
course.
But
Of course.
ultimately,
That's right.
physical hearing will have to come back, because we still have the old school of advocates who are still
Yes.
practicing, actively practicing, and more successful than most of us who are techno savvy little
Absolutely.
bit.
Absolutely.
So they have to come to the court, because the
Yes.
advocates who are above
Mr. Saikia will
65,
come back to
there is
you.
a
Yes.
restriction that
Got
they
your
cannot
point.
come to the court.
Yes.
So
We've got
all
your
these are
point. Yes.
upsetting the
So,
justice delivery system. But I think this is a very temporary system. I
right.
may be personally happy, but it is not the case of the advocates in general.
Right, right, and I'm sure your bar council and the relevant, associations and the authorities concerned will take a look into all of these issues that you have raised, Mr. Saikia, and also issues raised by Mr. Rehman. We are getting few questions here. I would like to bring this question to Mr. Rehman and Mr. Konwar, and also to Rita Mazumdar. There's this question that has come from Yunis Ahmed. He is saying that if government can do something, if government can do something for struggling lawyers, allow lawyers to do some other work, as Gujarat Bar Council has allowed, subject to approval from BCI, as has been highlighted by Mr. Rehman there, whether this can be done in Northeast Bar Association. That is one point he is raising. And the other point that he is raising is that most of the doctors do job, they also do private practice. Whether advocates, the rules can be amended to allow advocates to do the same.
Actually,
Third,
new
yeah,
situation is bringing in new things. So I think the Bar Council of India has to think in that line, because this
okay,
is a new situation. We had never faced this, that the lawyers should think about any other profession. We knew that lawyers start very low, and they go higher up with time.
right,
But now here
right.
is a situation where drastically we are pulled down, and we are put in a situation that we have to find alternative avocation.
Yes,
I
right,
think Bar Council of India, as well as all the bar councils of India, they have to sit together and think in this line, if it can be adopted.
right.
I feel
What?
that is my personal view.
Yes. Mr.
I
Kaur, what are your thoughts? Yes.
I think this will not be a practical solution because this is only a stopgap arrangement. Of course, the future is uncertain, but once the vaccine and the medicines comes up for this, or we develop some sort of immunity for this virus, I think
Yes.
that this allowing the advocates to do other business. So I think this is not a practical solution because we lawyers we are a noble profession, and we have taken up this profession knowing all the pros and cons. We never have taken this profession thinking that we'll have a secured income. Of course, we
No,
are
no.
facing hard times.
What I am talking about
No, no.
is the situation right now. I'm not saying that it should be the law of the I mean law forever, but for the situation right now, that is what I'm suggesting.
For now. So
Otherwise,
let
lawyers should remain lawyers.
yes,
That's the fact.
Advocate
I
Rahman
agree
will
with
come
that.
to you first. Let's
Yes.
hear out Advocate Kaur, and then coming to you, Mr. Rahman. Yes.
I have strong reservation about the decision given by the Gujarat Bar Association because
Yes.
we need to amend the law, and now at this time it is not possible to amend the law because Parliament is not in session. We have to amend the Advocates Act and the Bar Council rules and all. So it is not possible to allow advocates to have to take other profession. They
Then
have
shouldn't
to
we
come
think
out
that
from.
the government should be doing something for the advocates? Government should come up with something, some alternative for the advocates. They are facing,
Okay.
they are, that's, if they are not amending the law, at least they should do something for the lawyers.
All right. Let's
That's
get
what I
Advocate Rahman in.
I think that Delhi government has done a commendable job in the sense that they release some amount, some fund to the advocates. That probably
Yes.
is another way of helping the advocates who actually and very desperately need the financial help. That part is there. Now, as far as taking up some other profession is concerned, that of course needs the ratification, as I already mentioned, from the Bar Council of India, and for that also you need the amendment of various acts and various rules. So therefore, by taking the route of maybe ordinance route, also they can government can do it. But here the important aspect is that even if that is allowed, then also I think that there should be a dignity of taking up that particular profession, because if everybody, all the advocates are given the opportunity to take some other profession, and if they
Right.
take up some job which is say not very highly thought of, then probably, because we are in a profession which is very well known profession, in the sense a noble profession, I would say. So if a
Something
lawyer
like
is taking
advocacy.
up,
Yeah.
yes, something like
Yeah.
doctor, something like doctor, medical practice, and legal profession. There, these two professions are normally referred as the noble profession. So if
Right.
a person is taken up a particular say task which is not very, I would not use some other word, but I would say not very highly thought of in the society, then also it will create lots of problem once the situation is over, this pandemic situation is over. So you have to take
Okay.
it in a wholesome manner, not that only for the short period, say around 3 4 5 months, you are taking a particular profession which later on will, maybe
Hamper.
hamper your name later
Right.
on when you come back to the profession and come back
All
from
right.
this.
Yeah. All right. Let's get Mr. Saikia in. What are your thoughts
Yeah,
regarding this
my
whole
thought is
debate?
very clear on this. What Mr. Konwar has said, that there should be an amendment of the act and all this. These are things of hyper technicalities. This is a situation of emergency. A disaster has come to the whole country. So in this situation, survival is the main issue of the advocates. Whether be it
Right.
advocates, whether it is for the journalists, whether it is for the musicians or the other cultural activities or any other person, even the
Right.
students. Everybody has changed their system now. Who has thought about online classes for a regular student? So we have to change. Now, when there is a issue of survival, the thing is that Gujarat High Court has said that the advocates can practice some other vocations during this time, which I do welcome, because as the courts are not functioning, clients are not coming, there is no litigations. Courts cannot, even if there is a litigation, the court is not permitting the case to be listed, or the judges will sit and hear the matter. In that situation, when the whole thing has come to a standstill, minuscule amount of cases are being taken, hardly 5% of the regular cases
Yeah.
which are listed. So when 5% of the cases are listed, that too in the higher judiciary, in Assam it is in the Guwahati High Court, most of the courts are not functioning, except the judicial magistrate courts, where it is a case of production and some criminal issues, criminal matters. So in that situation, when the advocates who have a license to practice, he is not getting, even if he has a client, he has a case ready, but he cannot move it because the courts are not either. In our high court also, if you file a case, there is a period of quarantine for 72 hours. The petition will have to be kept in isolation, so that if there is a scope of this
Yes.
survival of the COVID virus,
The
so
virus.
72 hours they will keep it on quarantine. Then it will
Right.
be listed, and there is no guarantee that if the matter is not of very urgent importance, it will not be
Right.
listed also. So in that situation, the advocate will have to run his family, as Mr. Rehman has said. Most of the young advocates, I'm very sorry
Right.
for them. Even I had passed through that phase, that when you start your practice for 5 years or for 7 years, you don't have any earning. You have to learn only. You have to sustain it. Now, even those advocates who are earning, who are somehow maintaining their livelihood from hand to mouth existence, they are not having their cases. Even if they are having cases, they are not being able to move it in the court. In that
All
situation,
right.
they have to run their families or their personal life. So
Yes.
if they can have another profession, it is very difficult. If an advocate
Right.
is not having his brief or he's not normal practice, even if you permit, if the
Yes.
Delhi High
Let,
Court or even the Guwahati High Court allows that, go and practice another profession, is it
all
possible to
right.
find another job? It
No,
is not.
Okay. Mr. Saikia, let's
So
get in
that is the
Mr.
situation.
Kaur
So
here.
those
Right.
hyper
Got the point.
technicalities,
Mr.
amendment of
Kaur.
constitution, amendment of
Sure.
advocates law, these are not the issue today. The issue
All
is
right.
of
Let's get
survival,
Mr. Kaur
and
in.
they have to
Understood.
somehow maintain their families to run, and they have to
Absolutely. Got
survive
your
till
point.
this pandemic
Mr. Kaur.
situation is over.
yes.
So my
Mr.
request
Kaur.
is that
See,
Yeah.
somehow
one
Mr.
we
Saikia.
have to find an
Mr. Saikia,
optional
we've
source of earning
absolutely we've got
during
your
this
point. Let
situation, and
Mr.
somehow
Kaur speak.
you
Mr.
sustain it for
Kaur.
another 3 months, 4 months.
Understood. Mr. Kaur.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, see, if you say in that language, then we have to say that necessity knows no law. does it means that you will do something which is not permitted under the law? Under the Advocates Act and the rules of the Bar Council, at this moment, it is not permitted for an advocate to take up any profession or any other vocation. Even in case of Gujarat, it is only the association who have passed the resolution. The Bar Council of India is yet to approve that resolution, because lawyers can't take up, as Burhanur said, lawyers can't take up any job. It has to
No, that
fit
is
with the dignity
that
of
is
the
what
Okay,
that is
My
what
take on
my
this is
suggestion
that
should take
No,
my
up
take on
my
this is that
point
this
is
is not
my
the
point
appropriate
is
debate.
that
all right.
unless
Bhaskar,
the law is amended, if the
got your
law is
point, Bhaskar.
amended, that the
Let
advocate can
Rita
take up
speak.
the profession, I have no objection.
Absolutely.
But till
All
the
right.
law is amended, the advocate cannot take up any other vocation.
Got your point, Rita. In after that, we are going to Mr. Saikia on this particular issue. Rita Mazumdar.
Actually, you see, what law will be amended till then? What is this person going to do? He is hungry. What is he supposed to eat? What is his family supposed to eat? These young lawyers, they came with lots of hope to be a lawyer, in the long run. So, what is he supposed to eat today? Just
Okay.
because Bar Council Act is there, he cannot take any other profession. He cannot earn. He has to be and why we are taking it for granted that they are going to take up a vocation which is not befitting the lawyer? Why are everybody thinking in that line? Why should they be thinking that way? Why aren't they thinking that he might be taking up agriculture as a profession, of selling vegetables as a profession for the time being, because he is hungry. He has to feed himself. He has to feed his family. We
Absolutely.
have to look
Absolutely.
at, and Bar Council of India, they have a responsibility. The Parliament has a responsibility. We have and as lawyers, as today, since you have called us here to speak out our mind, we
Yes.
have a duty. Like we should try to change it. We should not be in that mindset that because this is a situation which was never thought of, never felt earlier.
Right.
No,
So
I
in
have
new
100% sympathy, Mrs. Mazumdar. I have 100% sympathy for the junior advocates and the lawyers who have not been able to sustain themselves during this pandemic. The Bar Council of India has given them grant of a certain amount. For that, the formality is quite high, and many of the lawyers, out of shame, have not applied for the financial assistance from the Bar Council assistance.
Need
So,
that financial assistance, how long it will go? Now, Mr. Konwar, just tell me that financial assistance, how long it will go? What is
But,
the expenditure per month a person for
No,
now
see,
from March?
my sympathy or your sympathy with the lawyers will not do unless we force the Bar Council of India to amend the
Absolutely.
law.
We will
Because
need
even
action
if the
there.
law
Mr.
says that if you
Saikia.
slap a person, you are not going to jail, you can slap a person. But
All
since the
right.
law is there that if you hit a person, you have committed a crime. My
Got
point
your
is,
point. We
change
need
the law.
action right now. Mr. Saikia, you wanted
Yes.
to make a point. Yeah.
Now the thing is like this: abnormal situation demands abnormal decision. Is it a normal situation going on in the country or in the world? No.
No.
So in that abnormal situation, certain things we have to waive. Laws are made to run the society in a proper systematic manner. Laws cannot be anti-human. A person is dying because of starvation, because he is not being able. Are you thinking about parliamentary amendment of the constitution or the laws advocates act? Even the parliament is not sitting. In today's situation, we must have a monsoon session. Where is the monsoon session going on? It is not going on. So thinking about there will be an amendment of the advocates act at this situation, it is just thinking aloud, which is not the requirement or which is not the call of the time. In this
Right. So-
situation, we have to, because in normal situation, no advocate will go and pursue another profession. We will not. What is the
Yes, we will
requirement? What
not.
is the necessity?
Right.
That is
So
for
we need
normal
immediate
situation,
action.
Advocates Act will be applicable. There are certain situations when there can be always exemption. And this is one of the emergent situation. Like
Yes.
you can take the example of BTC. There had been an election, but there has been no election. It has become
Absolutely.
impracticable to hold election today because there is no scope of any meeting, because we have
Right.
to maintain social distancing. So a election has been postponed. So
Yes.
these are
So
the
now
legal
let's
issues.
move on.
We can always debate in normal circumstances. Today, the situation is not normal. In that abnormal situation, allowing the advocates to go for, because I have read one article of one of the leading filmmakers today in one of the newspaper today. She said that our film technicians, they are selling vegetables today. Why? because the
Yes,
activities relating to filmmaking is not running today. That is
absolutely.
why it has
Got your point.
compelling them to sustain their livelihood. They have to run their families. They have to live. They have to have food. They have to burn fire in their kitchen.
Yes,
So in
and
that
we
situation,
need,
thinking about laws is, in my view, is that although I am a lawyer, it will be an absurd proposition.
because now we need
Thank you.
immediate drastic action there. I would like to move on. Of course, there are viewers who are sending in their comments. There's this Begaduti Chaudhary is saying that an alternative profession for an advocate is quixotic thought. We must consider the employability threshold of an advocate. Chaudhary is also suggesting, out of box thinking, like most of you in the panel are advocating at this point of time. Mr. Rehman would like to move on with the whole discussion and move on to the next segment, where I would like to hear from you all when people say, when the courts are talking about urgent matters will be taken up. Suppose somebody has suddenly there's a property dispute or some kind of a murder takes place or some kind of road rage happens and people get killed there. In such cases, how does a person approach the court? How does a person appear before the court? How does all these things take place? And what does
See,
urgent matter actually mean?
See, as far as the urgent matters are concerned, it concerns those matters which leads to the life and liberty of the person, of that person, concerned person. For example, if some bail matters are pending, those matters are taken up regularly in
Right.
high court as well as in lower court. All the bail matters are taken up regularly. Similarly, those matters in High Court where the stay-related matters, say if there is no stay, then something within say a few days, 3 4 days, or within a week, that particular say a particular institution or particular monument is to be demolished. In those scenarios, if there is stay matters pending, even those matters are also taken up regularly.
Right.
Now, as far as the bail matters, etc., are concerned, it's very clear instruction. There is a clear instruction from Honorable Guwahati High Court that these matters are to be taken up. So those things are very clear. But normal civil dispute matters, all other matters, say civil, land-related matters, and any
Yes.
other matters which will wait, say for a few months, or say 2 3 months, 4 months, those matters are not taken up as of now. That is
All
the
right.
mandate of the instruction given by the Honorable Guwahati High Court.
Oh,
So, therefore, those matters which will not wait for say 3 months, 2 months, those matters are to be taken up as per those instructions which are coming up time to time from the registrar of the Guwahati High Court.
okay.
And now, one thing that I would like to add regarding the earning capacity, earning scenario,
Yeah.
only very small thing, which in fact I wanted to speak on the last segment itself.
Okay.
Now, for a normal lawyer, you especially those lawyers which are new to the practice, those lawyers can earn only on certain phase of a particular case. Like for example, when a matter is filed fresh matter is filed, probably then you can charge something. Then when you get some interim order or interim stay order, then also you can charge something. Or finally, when the matter is disposed of, these are broadly three stages when a person can earn certain money from your client. So once you are not in those three stages, then it's almost like it's immaterial whether a matter is listed or not, because most of the time they will not earn anything. So therefore, in that scenario, you have to think on those lines. If a fresh matter is not allowed to file or that is not listed, then it's as good as your matter is not filed because you are not getting any money. So
Anything.
these are
Right.
very broad stages that I would like to, in fact, discuss in the not related with this stage, but
Yes.
our previous discussion, the stage of our
Right.
previous discussion.
Yes, yes, but that's an important issue, and the main one of the purpose of my discussion today was to highlight this particular thing. You know how your livelihoods have been hit because of the lockdown, because we have been highlighting issues that has been impacting the industry, the small scale traders, everyone else, but we have really not been talking much about the lawyers who have also been hugely impacted. So there are suggestions coming in that the government has duty. This is Chao Jagannath Hatimuria who is saying that the government has duty to think about our survival, need to declare some financial assistance to young lawyers. Then Shubhankar Nandi has written in saying that we should find and think of a new way of survival for junior advocates, something that all of you have been raising in this platform today. Also, the mention has also been made about the bar associations. The Supreme Court Bar Association apparently has some kind of a interest-free loan that they are giving to their members to the amount of some 25,000 rupees. So what is happening as far as Assam is concerned, and the suggestions which are coming in that the government should also step in and do something, how feasible do you think, and what really needs to be done at this point of time? Yes, Rita Mazumdar first.
Actually, first of all, you said Supreme Court Bar Association, they are giving
Yes,
25,000. With 25,000 in Delhi, how many days a lawyer can survive? Just
absolutely.
we have to
Yes,
just think. Now
yes.
here also our Bar Council of Northeastern states, they have also given some assistance. They in fact the rule they have made is such
Yes.
that many advocates they shied away from that because it was such
Okay.
a in lockdown they are supposed to give bank account numbers and bank details and recently printed out bank details,
Okay.
so
Right.
those things were not possible during lockdown. That was lockdown 1 and 2. So
Yes.
and the system itself made the lawyers not to approach, and the amount was also such that for how long? I'm talking 25,000 for Delhi.
Yeah.
Here, I think
Yeah.
I do not actually know what was the amount which was agreed to by Bar Council of Northeastern regions. So,
Right.
but the amount with that amount, can a person, single person, suppose a lawyer, he or she is coming from some other place, from some other district, and staying in Guwahati, a rented house,
Yes.
food on the plate, clothes
Right.
I won't say, but these two are essential things. And the bills,
Right.
say for mobile bill or electricity bill, these are essential things. So with that amount, can from March, April, May, now we are in June, we are going into July, for 5 months, can a person survive with that amount? That is my big
Right.
question. Big
Okay.
question. And what is the state government doing? Has the state government brought out any schemes that these lawyers are facing some problem? Because you see, if a salaried person, he is under lockdown, he is not going to office, his salary is intact, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
So what about the lawyers? Yes.
is there something intact that even if we do not go to the court, even if we do not write a petition, we will have food on our plate? That's not so. We have
Okay.
to earn that food, and that
Yes.
that too we have to do every day. So
Yes, Mr. Rehman,
when
I'm coming to you. First, let me go across to Advocate Kaur, Senior Advocate Kaur.
See, first let me tell you that this economic hardship of a young lawyer is not new. Even when I was a junior, I used to sometimes get rupees 500 in a month, or to pay my house rent, I have to sell my wife's necklace. Or suppose in a day, if someone eats more potatoes in my house, I have to think about the other day. This economic hardship of a lawyer is nothing new. Of course, this is a situation where the government can step in by giving a corpus or a fund to the association. But as Ms. Mazumdar has said, that it will only be a stopgap arrangement. It will not help in surviving in a long-term measure. And I believe that this pandemic is not going to last long, and this is only a temporary phase. And the physical presence of the lawyers in the court is a must. I have seen the system being worked now. It is not possible to do lengthy cases. You lose the touch in the argument if you, by doing when the court judge is sitting in another room. Because in India, the technology in the courtroom is not yet up to the mark of Singapore or any other country of the Southeast Asian countries. The technology which is being used in the court now is an obsolete technology. If you want the virtual courtroom to be successful in the court, we have to have some newsroom studios like NDTV or Times Now only. Then only the voices will be clear, audible, Now the technology which is using, many of the
Of
lawyers
course.
and the judges have to be trained on how to look at the camera and how to
Right,
say
right.
something which
Those,
is clear in the audio.
yes, Mr. Kaur, those technological challenges, of course, like Mr. Saikia also pointed out, these are new things that has come in totally suddenly. Everybody is trying to cope up with all of these things, and technological challenges will always be there. But let us now focus on this main issue of, how lawyers, the younger lot in particular, how are they going to survive? What is the government or your bar associations and the councils they need to do to make their lives, the young lawyers' lives, easier? Maybe many of the senior lawyers also might be facing a lot of issues. Mr. Rehman, you wanted to make a point there.
Yes, what I was trying to tell is that, or share my view is that, as far as the young lawyers are concerned, of course, they are facing a great problem in this period. But the government has a role to play, and
Yes,
in fact, what the Supreme Court Bar Association has just done of giving interest-free loan of 25,000, that role probably the government can do, because
right,
it is very unfortunate that even in those 20 lakh crore rupees package which was announced by our honorable prime minister, there was not even a single word related with this profession, because probably honorable prime minister has covered almost all the sectors, but
right,
very conveniently has left this particular and very important segment of the society, that is the lawyers society, is totally ignored, and there is absolutely no way that they can get any financial help from that package, which is a huge amount. Because now if government is trying to help various sectors, that includes the sectors which is related with this profession also. If the litigate if the, Because now what I am thinking is that if this the whole sector collapse, then you can imagine the judiciary system will come to a grinding halt. So
right.
therefore, I think the government has to play a very proactive role. They can in fact give interest-free loan kind of thing to those lawyers which actually needs it desperately. Because the number of years in profession is also not important. Sometimes even those lawyers who has they had a good experience of say about 15 years, 20 years, they may also face problem because of some unforeseen event, for example medical need. So
Right.
personally, I know certain lawyers who are in great distress financially because of this medical need, and they are not
Right.
able to give their EMI. They are not able to pay their medical
All
bills.
right.
So those things are also important.
Right, got your point. Because of paucity of time, request Rita Mazumdar to keep it really brief, and then I will
Yeah.
request Mr. Saikia to give his concluding remarks. Yes,
Actually, adding to what Mr. Rahman said, it is not only the young lawyers who are facing the problem. You see, many senior lawyers who have a
right,
battery of juniors. So cases are not coming as they used to come. But being in a pandemic, they are unable to shed off their responsibilities towards the juniors. They are paying to the juniors, the advocate clerk. So they are also, even senior advocates are facing problems. I'm
right.
adding to what Mr. Rehman has said about
Yes,
the not only about the medical bills, but the seniors are also paying whatever they were paying to the juniors.
absolutely,
So
got your point. And
yeah,
yeah, sorry, I
yes,
am having to cut you off because
yeah,
I'm
yeah, no
running out
problem.
of time. Yes, finally, final word from you, Mr. Saikia, giving you just 30 seconds to sum up the whole thing, and really looking forward that the government and your respective councils will look into this major issue. Mr. Saikia.
Definitely, the government will definitely have to put in their foot to help out the advocates from coming out of this trauma. But the same thing, that government has limited resources and there are bigger challenges before the government at this stage. So government
Yes,
is first fighting the fight against the COVID and various other sectors. But definitely at one point of time, they will have to rope in, and they will have to join hands with the bar councils of the states as well as of the country to help out the advocates. Already in Assam, the bar council of Assam and the four northeastern states have done a lot of things for benefit and sustaining the lawyers for this temporary period. But more things will have to come out. As Ms. Majumdar has said that the senior counsel will also have to help their counsels who are attached with their chambers and the advocate
yes,
clerks. Those are also a big sector in our judicial system. The judges is
right,
one sector, the lawyers and the other persons who are involved in helping the advocates to get the case listed and to make the files moving. So
Right.
we have to look not only the junior advocates, but the advocate clerks and other technical persons, including the
Everybody,
typist also.
absolutely.
So
Everybody
the
involved in the whole
lawyers
judicial
who are
process
having regular
should,
good
yes.
practice, like Mr. Konwar, we have to take our responsibility and
No,
help the
no.
Okay,
persons who
let's
are
not get there.
attached with
Let's
us.
not get there. Let us
But
just
if
but
all
you,
can I
see
add
what
can I
has
add
been the
one sentence?
fraternity.
Can I
Yes,
add one sentence?
yes, Mazumdar.
That
Yes,
because one positive thing has happened because of this virtual court. I am able to do my court from this chamber directly. I do not have to
lovely.
take all the traffic and everything. But then it is not possible for everybody. That is the
Absolutely,
problem.
that's the problem, and I'm sure the
Yes.
bar council, the government will take note of all the issues that the fraternity is facing. And like Mr. Saikia said, the whole gamut of people involved in dispensation of judicial matters, they will be taken care of by the council as well as the government. Ending on a suggestion from Samujjal Sharma. Here the suggestion says, Mr. Sharma has written in saying that a monthly minimum salary system should be introduced for the junior advocates who have a practicing experience of at least up to 8 years, from 5 to 8 years. So looking forward for some positive development as far as the legal fraternity is concerned, and hoping, even if it's a stopgap solution, we really need a solution at this point of time for all those lawyers out there. Thank you, each one of you. Thank you so much for joining me this evening on this particular
Thank you.
show. I'm really sorry, because of paucity of time, I could not give enough time to most of you. I had to cut you short. But thank you once again, and thank you, viewers, for joining today. Goodbye.
Thanks, Anitam. Thanks.
Thank you.